Y'all know what's going on. It's time for another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and welcome to the show, y'all. I want to share something with y'all that is deeply personal to me. Y'all know that I got two sons. Y'all know Boo. Everybody knows about Boo. And my other son, Montrez, he's my older son. But Montrez has a special place in my heart because, he has mental health issues. And I know in a lot of my shows I talk about the reasons that you shouldn't want to come to prison or you shouldn't want to live the criminal lifestyle is because the lifestyle is crooked, the people are not trustworthy, it's a life of deception, a life of darkness, all of those different types of things, right? But one of the things that I don't mention a lot, I need to, but I don't, is that you're not going to be able to be there for the people in your family that need you. When you're younger, you don't think about that, even if you got kids, because when I was in high school is when, my ex had my first son, Montrez, and I didn't think about all the different things that come along with that as far as being a father and being, somebody else depending on you. I remember he used to go to sleep on my chest and I used to just sit there and hold him and watch him. And I used to walk him around Springfield, that's where I'm from, I'm up on my neck and stuff like that. And he'd be just laughing and kicking and then talking and having fun with me and all of those types of things. And then, I was gone. I ended up in prison and I never really stopped to think about how that affected him. One minute his dad is in his life, waking up in the morning, helping him eat some cereal, and then the next minute, I'm gone. I'm gone. And my son, like I say, he grew up trying to do things that I did, and he ended up doing some of the wrong things and ended up coming to prison himself, and he got out. But when he was here, I saw that something was off. I saw it. People were telling me about it. I didn't want to believe it. I didn't want to accept it. But I saw it for myself. And it really just widened that hole that I had and still have to this day in my heart, for the situation that there's not much that I can do. And I'm telling you this because, this past weekend, somebody jumped on my son, beat him up. We don't know the circumstances. I don't know if it was his fault because with mental health issues, he has these spiraling moments where he's, yelling, and then other times he's calm. If you have anybody in your life that has mental health issues, you understand what I'm saying. And again, like I said, I don't know if it was his fault. I don't know if he made somebody angry. I don't know somebody tried to rob him because that's happened before. I don't know what the situation was, but what I do know is that he got beat up pretty bad. And he went to my uncle's house. He didn't know at the time, but my uncle was out of town. And he sat on the porch and he continued to ring the bell, and nobody answered. And suddenly, an ambulance showed up. We don't know who called the ambulance. We don't know why. A lot of people are speculating that the people that beat him up called the ambulance, But when my uncle got home, he looked on his ring security device, and he saw that my son, his nephew, was sitting on the porch, and he took his wife beater off, and he was patting his face with his wife beater, drying the blood on his face, and it was like he was having a hard time breathing. And when the ambulance got there, they had to help him get up so that he could get in the ambulance. He was hurting that bad that he couldn't even stand up anymore. So when he was able to get up and they got him in the ambulance, they took him to the hospital. And once he got to the hospital, his sister showed up, and somehow another people that saw this happening, they called and told his mom and his sister got to the hospital, and his mom was on the way. And while he was in the hospital, he was erratic, and they were asking him what happened, who did this to you, and he wouldn't say anything. He wouldn't say anything because this stupid code that a lot of people still live by, even my son, that say he's not supposed to say anything. He's not supposed to tell anybody who brutalized him, beat him. So he didn't say anything, and when his sister was trying to calm him down, he pushed her. And the hospital called the police. And they charged him with assault, but of a domestic nature. And when I called home and I found out all of this, I felt helpless. I couldn't do anything for him. My first instinct was like, who did it? I want to know who did it. I need to know who did it. And then I started to think about it. And I started to blame myself because I wasn't there to protect him. I wasn't there to be the father that he needed me to be again. And he's afraid now. He's in jail. And he's all alone. He feels all alone. I know it. And so my sister called to talk to somebody in the district attorney's office, and comes to find out that they have a mental health court where they deal with people with mental health issues, and instead of prosecuting them criminally, they're supposed to deal with them in a different way and try to get them some help, before it escalates to something that could cause a real problem. And the more I thought about it, the more helpless I felt. And that's why I wanted to tell this story. A lot of people out there think that, don't get me wrong, and don't hear what I'm not saying, but people will tell you that you don't want to come to prison because you don't want to be told what to do, locked in a cell and all this and that. And all of that is true. One of the biggest things for me lately is that I can't be there for my family. I can't be there for the people that need me. Most people in my life are grown and they don't need me in that way, but he does. And there's not a thing that I can do about that. Nothing. So I want you to think about that. I want you to think about the situations that you might find yourself in and where you want to try to do something that could cause harm to somebody. I want you to think about that. I want you to think about what life would be like for them if you were not there. If you were not able to help them through their tough times. I'm talking about those people that need you, that you know that they need. I'm not talking about you saying it. People that you know need you there. Your kids, your nieces, your nephews, your parents, grandparents, anybody in your life that you know that depends on you. They need you there. Think about them first. Because if you don't start to think about them, you're going to end up like me, and you're going to come to the conclusion that you let them down. You let them down. Now, can you stop everything from happening to people? No. No, you can't. But when I think about my son and him having his mental health issues and not taking his meds, and nobody really out there that can have the patience or time with him and want to get him to take his meds, it bothers me. It's not anybody else's responsibility but me and his mother's. Yeah, he has his brothers and sisters and nieces and nephews and aunties and uncles and all of that. But it's a parent's responsibility. Yes, I would love to see somebody else step in to fill the gap. I would. But it still doesn't abdicate the parents from that. And I give you this. A lot of times, a lot of people just don't know what to do. They don't know how to deal with that. And I respect that. But it broke me when I sat and listened to my uncle and my sister tell me what was going on. It broke me. I sat on the phone and I cried, and I didn't want them to know that I was crying, so I I stifled my mouth, and because I wanted them to continue to tell me everything, and I got angry, and I wanted to know who did it, and nobody knows, and I'm kind of glad that I didn't find out, because that anger in me, that not wanting to, not being there for my son, that anger in me wanted me to do something. And that's another reason that I'm telling you this story. A lot of times when you feel ashamed about your actions, you end up doing something that you don't really think through, because you want to do something. You want people to know that you're there for them. Me, even if I found out who did something to my son, it wouldn't change the circumstances. And even if I would have had somebody go and take care of the business and do something that make it seem as if I'm there for my son, it still doesn't change the fact that I'm not there for my son. I'm not there for my son. And that is a consequence of this environment. That's a consequence of this lifestyle. We overlook that. So we try to do something violent. We try to do something to make it seem like we have their backs, but when we had the opportunity to have their backs in the right way, we didn't do it right. And that's another thing that I want you to get. When the opportunity is there for you, meaning right now, today, all of you out there that are listening to this, and if you have somebody in your family that depends on you, that needs you, and you know this, be there for them the right way. Be there for them the right way. Because they need you more after whatever they've gone through. They need you there now. You know, my son goes to court in a day or so concerning this issue, and I hope that they get him the help that he needs. I'm calling everybody that I know I can call to get them to call the judge, to get them to call the DA, and they're taking care of it. My sister's on it. His sister's on it. My son is on it. They're taking care of it the way it should be done, the way family's supposed to do. But because I'm here, I can't. Remember that when you think about doing something silly. You're not going to be able to be there for the people that you care about, the people that need you. Just something to think about. This has been another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and I say peace, y'all.